We're just gonna spin. We're just gonna spin until someone comes in. All right, that's enough spinning. That's enough spinning. All right. So, The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. And y'all know the rest. I don't gotta go through the whole intro for you guys. But what's up, man? What's up? What's up? True school sports audience. What's good, boxing fans? What's good, boxing world? I know I've been a little quiet on here recently because I just been dialed in camp. So my apologies for the lack of content. Trying to adjust to being in camp and balancing all this out. So please be patient with me. But we're here. I'm not. I'm not gonna. I'm letting you guys know. Unless this live really pops off tonight, like I'm not trying to make this no long live because I gotta go to bed soon. We got a long day of training camp ahead of us tomorrow, and I do plan on being live tomorrow in a more structured format. But while I'm here, while you guys got my undivided attention, do me a favor, smash that like button, get your comments in, super chat, all that blase, and let's make the most of this time while we're here. Let me see who we got here. We got Jesus M says saludos BT. What's up, Jesus M? TSM Harder in the building. TSM Harder asks, did Jin Sasaki do good versus Rolly in sparring? Well, listen, man. Whether he did good or whether he did bad, you know the rule. What happens in the gym stays in the gym. And I'll just leave it at that. I can't really come on here and talk about sparring. That ain't my place. But what I can say is Jin is definitely improving out here in Vegas. So that much I can say. Very hard worker, very attentive listener, and that's what I'll say about that. I'm not here to expose no one. Um, but yeah, man, just another day closer to this Raif Salim fight. I'm ready. I'm ready to you know get it cracking, get it on and popping. But I know there's a lot in the box world we could speak about. I mean, I know today like Jerron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz were going back and forth, but like who really wants to talk about that? Do y'all want me to give you guys to tell you? Do you guys want me to make this another live where I tell you the truth about Jerron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz? I've been doing that for a while now. Some of y'all listened, some of y'all didn't. Either way, what I've been saying has been getting proven true. Um, Jesus M says Nigel Lopez versus Manuel Gallegos. Yeah, that's a good fight. That's this weekend. Najee. It's crazy to see. It's crazy to see Najee because I've been knowing Najee since 2019, and Najee Lopez stepping up to Gallegos is a good fight. Good to see Najee. Continuing to climb the ranks in the sport. He's a guy that I've always been high on for a long time, going all the way back to when I saw him spar at Stacey McKinley's gym back in 2019. So, looking forward to that fight. Looking forward to see how he does against a good veteran like Gallegos, who's won in there and upset guys before. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Was him being in the Inoue undercard the news you heard, BT? No, no. That was not the news that I heard. I'm gonna keep that news to myself, champ. But it is good to see that it's amazing to see that it's exceptional to see that Jin Sasaki is gonna find the Inoue undercard. I think he's got a chance to really turn his career around in a big way against Sora Tanaka and beat the brakes off of him and put the world on notice. So we'll see how it goes, man. Where's everybody watching from? What city? What state? What continent? Let me know. Drop it on your boy. Where's everybody at? I'm in the fight capital of the world. Talk to you guys, playing Rubik's cube. You see the kid. You see the kid. We getting leaner. You understand? We getting leaner. Soon, you're gonna start seeing cuts right here. I'm gonna look like the Incredible Hulk. I'm gonna look like Manny Pacquiao here. You give it another week or two of training and running and doing all this stuff. We'll be here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Let me know what's good in the boxing world. I know in Japanese boxing news, since I know a lot of y'all like to hear the Japanese stuff. Katsuma Akitsugi signed a co-promotional deal with Tekken Promotions in conjunction with ProBox. So, he's gonna finally get the opportunity to fight in Japan because he's Japanese. He ain't never really had a chance to fight in Japan despite him being Japanese. So, good for him. I know that's something very important to him. I've had him here on the channel before. Katsuma is a friend of the channel, so good to see that for him. What else is there? Let me know. Y'all give me some topics, and if y'all got any questions that aren't box related, you can ask those too. I'm gonna be here for probably like 30, 35 minutes, 50 minutes. I just came to pop in and say what's up, just so you guys know that, I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm not neglecting you. No, we're still here. We're just in camp, and I'm trying to adjust to the Vegas life, to the Vegas nights and the Vegas life. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's next for Makito Nakano? That's a good question. I saw he had a Stay Busy fight scheduled for Corkin Hall. So I would assume the Mr. Honda is probably gonna bring him in some sort of body from Thailand or the Philippines or something like that. He'll get an easy win and then look to push him back up the rankings. But he's got a lot to work on. I've been, I won't get too deep into it, but I've been reviewing a lot of Rai Salim, so naturally I've been reviewing a lot of Makina Nakano, and he has a lot to work on, really and truthfully. Do I feel sorry for Jaya Pataya? I do to a degree. I feel a little sorry for him just because like I feel like his team, Jaya Pataya's team, does have the best interest, have his best interest because anybody with half a brain knows what Zuffa boxing is. Like everyone knows they have no intention of working with anybody, but they don't want to be honest with Jai about what Zuffa boxing is. Zuffa boxing is going to interfere with his ultimate dream, his ultimate goal of becoming the undisputed champion. You understand? And then Zuffa is using Jai to legitimize their brand, legitimize their name in the sport. So I feel like he's the guinea pig. I feel like nobody really cares about him and what he really wants out of the sport. Sure, he might be getting paid well. Good for him if he is. But, what really seems to be important to Jai Pataya more than anything is being the undisputed cruiserweight champion, or at least pursuing that. And his team is making every move that prevents him from doing that in the most efficient manner possible. So in that regard, yes, because I always say on this channel, I always say like you're only as good as your team, you're only as good as people around you, and his situation is not the best. How do you know? The GOAT wants to know, how do you know Angelo? I know Angelo for years. That's my guy. That's one of my really good friends. Probably one of my closest friends. I've been knowing Angelo for years. There's a video on the channel where he explains it. So if you go look at the past 4 or 5 videos I've done, there's a video where he explains, how we know each other, my role in the camp, those kind of things. So go check it out. So you don't think I'm just talking out of my ass. But long story short, we had a mutual friend, a guy named Johnny. He put us in contact years ago. We got cool years ago, and we both helped each other in growing in the sport. So it's all got us it's all gotten us to this point now. Haka Mustang, what's good, champ? We need Zuffa boxing to succeed. Not enough shows. Boxing will always be left in the dust because it's not constantly in your face. I wouldn't sit here and say, like, I'm never of the mindset that any particular company needs to succeed over the other. But what I will say is, and what my hope is that I hope Zuffa Boxing will push the other promoters to clean up their act. And because the thing is, right, like if you look at Zuffa, they got the most money. They got the Saudi government bankrolling them with Sheikh Turkey's investment, right, as Dana White says. But Zuffa Boxing still doesn't have the top talent. The top ranks do, the PBCs do, the Matchroom Boxing, Golden Boys, they do. So they still have some leverage. They can make the big if they make the big fights happen, they can go ahead and do some good things in the sport, and that's the only way to compete. But like I said, that's too much common sense. They're making it easy for Zuffa Boxing. All these promoters are making it easier for Zuffa Boxing to thrive. Look at what's going on with Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis and how hard it is for them to get their fights going and their own careers running and their big fight done. You know, and that right there will tell you. Um, my man Champy says boxing has been so whack to start the year. Yeah, it's been a slow start, but that's generally how it is. Boxing don't normally start heating up really till the spring, summer. You know, being honest. How do we get? My man TSM says, how do we get the Leo versus Lopez Blu-ray disc? Y'all like that? You like that TSM, didn't you? So for those that don't know what he's talking about, there was a guy. In fact, hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, I'm back. So I want to show you this. So my story makes. Oh, we got a super chat. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Shout out to TSM for the super chat. But look, so there was a guy from New Mexico. I forgot his name right now. I think his name was John. But he came from New Mexico because he wanted to go watch the New Mexico Lobos play at up the street at a college basketball game. And look, he made these like Angel Leo cards. What do you guys think about these Angel Leo cards? This guy he makes these cards for boxers from New Mexico, and he came and he gave Angelo a whole truckload of them. So he came by today, and he was the one who had the Blu-ray disc with the Venado Lopez on it, and I posted it on my YouTube shorts. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look at my last two YouTube shorts and you'll find it. Dude had a Blu-ray disc with Venado Lopez and Angelo on it, and I guess the fight's on that disc. So I don't have the Blu-ray disc. Angelo doesn't have the Blu-ray disc, but that guy does. So maybe if we can get another, if we can get another copy, maybe we could do the Blu-ray disc raffle. You know, now I thought it was pretty cool because I guess another guy makes these Blu-ray disc for fighters. So that's pretty cool. TSM Harden, good to see you, champ. With the super chat, he says it's sad to see Seiya Tatsumi keep getting injured. I think we won't get to see him for much longer. Yeah. Seiya Tatsumi, good friend of the channel. I like Seiya a lot. He's definitely been one of the best pound for pound action fighters in boxing over the last couple of years, last 5 years, honestly, and definitely one of the guys that makes the Japanese boxing scene very unique and fun to cover. Listen, man, I know we think these guys are all, superhuman. They're not. They're not superhuman. You understand? These guys are human beings, and he's been in a lot of wars with Riku Masuda, with RIP to him, Kazuki Anaguchi, with Daigo Higa a couple times. Um, you know, it takes a toll, right? So that's why the injuries keep happening, and that's not to mention, guys. I'm not gonna get too deep into it because again I'm a firm believer of what happens in the gym should stay in the gym. But I've seen Seiya Satsumi spar. I know what his sparring habits are like, and as the old saying goes, you spar. For a lot of fighters, for most fighters, you train how you fight how you train, and vice versa with sparring, and so that takes a toll too, fighting and sparring that way. So, yeah, it's sad, but it's not necessarily unexpected. Jesus M says Vaquero Navarrete versus Angelo Leo. That's a great fight. I wouldn't say it's the first option because obviously there's things to be done at featherweight, but I mean if it ever made sense, why not? I mean Vaquero's to me, y'all talk about Inoue and Espinoza and these guys. I'm not even worried about those guys. That's actually a fight where I'd really be like, damn, that's one of them fights. That's a tough fight. I'd be more concerned for that fight than Espinoza or Inoue. Did you see Katsumo Akisugi signed with Tekken and is fighting for in Japan for the first time? Yeah, Eli, I mentioned it about 5 minutes ago. Good for him. Good for him. He turned pro in an unorthodox route. He turned pro here in America, and he honed his craft in a lot of the Southern California boxing gyms. So he didn't go through the Japanese system. Now, my questions that would be, okay, if you're signed to Tekken Promotions, if you're signed to Mr. Honda, are they gonna make him go through the Japanese system and sign with Tekken Gym? Because I feel like that would be a hindrance for him. He's had a lot of success being himself, taking his own path, doing what he's had to do. I hope they don't interfere with how he trains and all that kind of stuff and make him have to go through the Japanese boxing system, even though he's not even a Japanese citizen. Next Gen Combat Sports TV says, "Are those reports about Bam moving up to bantamweight real?" Um, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know. I've seen the reports just like you have. What I can say is, if they are true, I'm not shocked in the least bit that they're trying to get him to fight Antonio Vargas, because I don't know where I've said it, because I looked earlier for where I've said it, but I know somewhere in one of these lives, somewhere I've said that the whole purpose of Matchroom Boxing signing Antonio Vargas is literally just for no other reason other than that he will be a Bam Rodriguez opponent. There was no other reason they signed Antonio Vargas than him being a Bam Rodriguez opponent. You understand? So, I mean, if the reports are true, it's not shocking to me at all, because Antonio Vargas' sole purpose signing a Matchroom Boxing is to be a Bam Rodriguez opponent. Good fighter. I'm not trying to down Vargas. I like him. I think he's a good fighter. I've covered a couple of fights here on the channel. I made videos about him. I like Antonio Vargas. He's fought good fighters on the way up. Real, hungry, live competition. But really and truthfully, like, from a promotional standpoint, they're using him as a Bam Rodriguez opponent. That's all Matchroom Boxing signed him for. They don't really care about necessarily building him into a star. He's not that East Side guy. So it wouldn't shock me if it is true. Um, what do you think about Najee Lopez, Mayo Gallegos, and Dominic Valle versus Eduardo Ramirez fight for tomorrow, brother? I haven't put too much thought into it, to be honest with you. I really just got reminded that it was today. I've been so dialed into camp, but I'm really excited about it. You know, I think it's a good stern test for Najee. Najee, I've been knowing Najee since 2019 when I see him spar as a teenager, beating up heavyweights, you know, in the gym. So always liked Najee, always regarded him highly. Gallegos is a strong, sturdy, tough Mexican fighter. I think we're gonna learn more about what level he's at right now, because really and truthfully, Najee Lopez has had some scares in his career. If you go and you check under the hood and you look at Najee Lopez's record, think back to the Kalani Wheeler fight, how much struggles he had in that particular fight. So that's a good fight. And as far as Valle and Eduardo Ramirez is a good veteran, but he's on the back nine. If Valle is what the pro box think he is, he should be getting by a guy like Ramirez. Even though Ramirez is a good fighter, even though Ramirez is a crafty veteran, that's a guy you should get by if you're really one of those upper echelon next level prospects as he's advertised to be. So yeah, we'll see. City by the Bay says he's got Arnold Barbosa Jr. by decision. He can't believe he's an underdog. Barbosa is the volume puncher and fighting in his hometown. Underdog, give me that money all day. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. If you're a betting guy and he is an underdog, I don't see that as a bad bet. You know, Kenny Sims. Kenny Sims is a good fighter. I love Kenny Sims. I think Kenny Sims has had a respectable career in the sport of boxing, but Kenny Sims has been a bit inconsistent. You know, now one thing that I feel like the Duarte fight will, as far as experience goes, will do for a guy like Kenny Sims is, you know, Duarte is a big, strong, physically imposing guy. Barbosa is not that. Barbosa is more of a crafty, you know, he's more of a, you know, just a crazy crafty fighter. Not a big puncher, not the fastest, not any of that. So, if you get into a fight with Kenny Sims Jr. and it's about boxing skills and craft and those kind of things, that's more like, I feel like that's a fight that's good for him. You know, it's a pick 'em. Just pick 'em. What's your favorite part of camp so far? That's a great question. My favorite part of camp, believe it or not, guys, is today, the rest day. Now, all jokes aside, my favorite day at camp, or my favorite part of camp, I should say, apart from eating, because I do like a lot of eating. You know, we do train hard, so we do eat well, we eat healthy, we eat smart. But I would say my favorite part of camp is just the day to day. I love being in the gym. I love the camaraderie. I love the togetherness of the team and people on the team. I love Miguel Leo talking my ear off about boxing at the drop of a dime. I like that. I like the game planning aspect of it. I like everything. I don't know if I have a particular set part I like. I like everything. I like even even with the other night, and by the way, for those of you who don't, go follow my boy Angelo Leo on TikTok at Angelo X Leo 777. We were live on TikTok the other day, and we had to go run. And truth be told, I didn't want to go run. I hate running. I can't stand running. I hate running. I used to love running when I was younger. I hate running now that I'm older. But even that, like, even the pain, even the runs, even the things I think I hate doing, I still like that part. So I like the whole experience of it. I like the build up. You know, we still got a lot of time. We got like what, month and a half, 2 months left till they fight. So, you know, still a lot of things to be done. Still a lot of T's to be dotted and I's to be crossed. But, definitely great experience. Not my first time doing it with them either. So, yeah. Why do you have to do camp if you aren't a fighter? Everyone's a fighter. I'm a fighter in life. I'm doing camp because I want to do camp. I'm doing camp because I want to become the best version of myself. I'm doing camp because I want to be a healthier version of myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. I want to do camp so that my mind is sharp, because if my mind is sharp, I can study film better. I can deal with all the other bullshit things that come with these fights and the games that promoters and managers try to play on, us. So you do camp so that you can be sharper mentally. That's why you do camp. And you saying I'm not a fighter? I'll get in there on the drop of a dime. I don't got an ounce of bitch in me. Um, why do you think Matchroom has such a tough time getting Bam fight dates lately? It's because of the Turkey? It's because of Turkey. He has 2 dates. I don't think Eddie Hearn really has a clear roadmap for what he wants to do with Bam, because like they know that Bam is at a point in his career where he can still fight these guys like that he's supposed to beat, but I think people want to see Bam in a fight where he beat some good fighters. They want to see Bam in a fight against somebody who's closer to his age, someone who's like in his prime. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think there's a lot of mix up because Ubaldo Garcia is there for the undisputed fight, right? But Ubaldo Garcia has a mandatory due, and then Ken Sure got left out in the dark. So there's a lot of complications at 115 pounds right now in regards to Bam. And then you have potential like Matchroom has multiple options at bantamweight already there for Bam. They got Christian Medina, who they signed. They got Antonio Vargas, who reportedly Bam's gonna fight next, signed. So, I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to just the confusion of the title picture at 115 right now because of the whole Ball Garcia, Kenshiro, Maloney situation. Val the Elite says, "Let's go, BT. Best luck to you, Angelo." And thank you, champ. Thank you. I appreciate it. He says, "Same here. I've been back in training since the new year. What are your post-fight training meals?" For me, the main thing for me, because I'll be honest, I like soda, I like Bojangles, I like fried chicken, I like sweet tea. So I cut all that out. A lot more fruits, a lot more eggs, a lot more, a little bit of fish, definitely a lot more water. Those kind of things. He says, "I didn't mean to disrespect." Okay, all right, now. Yeah, I didn't think you did. It's just I'm glad you cleared that up for me, champ. Thank you. Donaire or Riku Masuda? That's a good question, man. Conventional wisdom says Riku, right? Because Riku's a younger guy. But Riku, it all comes down to that God's left hand. If Donaire can take away the left hand, he beats Riku. It's that simple. So I don't know, man. If we're going off on next performances, at last performances, um, I think Donaire has a great chance. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm leaning just ever so slightly towards Donaire, but he is at that age where he could fall off a cliff overnight. Bojangles and working out definitely don't mix. They don't. What's funny, guys? I'll tell you guys a story. So I remember last year I was going to this gym. I was going to Lifetime Fitness a lot last year. And I remember for like a 1 or 2 week stretch, I was eating Bojangles before I go and work out. It's crazy. I was doing crazy stuff. But no, what's crazy? In Vegas, they actually opened up 2 Bojangles locations. So that's crazy because that's my favorite fast food chain in America. That's my one kryptonite. I could say no to McDonald's. I could say no to Wingstop. I could say no to a lot of places, but Bojangles is difficult. They said, "What does Angelo Leo do different than other fighters you've seen and train with BT?" Well, I can't give you the whole playbook on that because then like they say, the game is to be sold and not told. But all I'll say is this: a lot of fighters like fighters that I've been around. So like if you look at like the Yugo Osaki's of the world, shout out to Yugo wherever he's at in the world. Yugo Osaki, um, and just other fighters I've been around over the years. Some of these guys are extremely athletic. Some of these guys punch really hard. Some of these guys have their own attributes. But what I would say Angel does, and not just around not just in comparison to fighters I've been around, but I'm just saying in comparison to most fighters in boxing, in general. I don't know if there's a more obsessed, more detail oriented person at the top level than him. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple guys like your Inoue's and guys like that, but I mean, in terms of like the film studying that it's done, it's different over here. That's what I'll say. A lot of film study is done. It gets to the point where like you watch certain fighters. So like in this case, Rais Salim, or when we fought Venado, Venado, it gets to the point where you're sick of watching them. You don't want to hear the name. You don't want to like you're angry that you're angry that you're watching them so much. So I would say that like just the amount of preparation and detail. If more fighters had even 10% of the dedication that Angel has to just like film studying and just even his nutrition, I would say that's another thing nutrition wise. Like he's not one of these guys that balloons up in weight between fights. He's always very disciplined. He's one of these guys. He's so disciplined where it's like he'll tell me sometimes he'll be like, BT, when I binge eat and I'm not eating right, I feel wrong. He eats right so much that he feels wrong when he's not. So it's like it's one of those things. So that I hope that's a good answer. TSM says, you always said you had Jin over Sora. After seeing Jin in camp, did that make you more confident in your choice? Yes it did. Yes, it does. Obviously you never know what's gonna happen in the ring, and he's fighting at the Tokyo Dome, so it's a big stage, and you never know how a fighter's gonna respond on that big stage. But listen, man, Jin is better than Sora. If Jin don't beat Sora, I'm gonna be very disappointed because he's a better fighter than Sora Tanaka. So this fight is only happening because Ohashi Boxing Gym is with Sora Tanaka, and they want to fast track him because that's one of the two big gyms in Japan. Tekken Gym, Ohashi Gym, which is crazy to me because if you just remove Inoue from the equation, I don't think the Ohashi stable is that impressive. Like I think you got Inoue, and then you got the second best fighter in that gym is Andy Hiroka, but they don't care about him, so let's not even count Andy. You got your Yuta Sakai's, and you got I'm not really too impressed with the Ohashi stable, and Tekken can't win no big fights these days. They all box the same. So I just think there's a lot of untapped potential there with Jin. He's getting a lot of great sparring here in Vegas. There's two sparring sessions in particular I would like. There's two fighters in particular I would like him to spar before he leaves. So we're gonna try and make that happen if we can, and help Jin any way we can because we like Jin. When I say we, I mean the whole team. Me, Angelo, Miguel. We all love Jin. We all want to see him do well. So that Supreme combo hit every time, man. Every time, the 5-piece Supreme combo with French fries and a large sweet tea. The sweet tea will get you every time too, cause you stay wanting to watch the tea down over and over again. But listen, guys, it's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I didn't even plan this live today. It's funny. I told Angelo, right? Because Angelo, I get on this case about things all the time in camp. So I told Angelo, I said, Angelo, I haven't really been to my standards on YouTube recently. So I told Angelo, I'm gonna go live every day the rest of this month. So I told Angelo, hold me to it. And I did not want to come live today. I really didn't want to come live. I wanted to rest. I wanted to just chill. And Angelo got on my ass multiple times. So this live, guys, is happening because of Angelo. If it wasn't for him, I'd be up chilling and resting. But he got on my case today. So that's how it is. I hold him accountable for things I don't like in the gym and things I'm seeing, and he'll hold me accountable for me being the best I need to be here on YouTube. So, when are we getting the Jin interview? I had the interview on my phone. I just haven't sat down and edited. I haven't edited the interview because it's 41 minutes long. We did it on Google Translate, and it's a lot to sit through. So I don't want to give you an answer because I'm not sure if I'll get it done, but it'll definitely be out before he fights. That much I can say. What are your top 5 boxing channels that you'd recommend? Well, I don't want to throw no shade on any other boxing channels. There's enough success to go around in the YouTube boxing community ecosystem, right? Different channels bring different things to the table, but channels that I like to watch when I do watch boxing content, I like to watch, um, I like to watch Sean Tell. I like to watch my boy, Miracle Boy Boxing. He doesn't have a big channel like in terms of numbers of viewership, but I like him because I feel like he loves boxing and he kind of reminds me a little bit of myself when I first started covering boxing. So, him. I like Coach Malachi Williams from time to time. I watch him. I watch Tim Bradley. I watch the Boxing Boys. Um, yeah, I mean, those are the channels I like to watch. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, but I'm a little tired. Hey BT, this is the only boxing channel I love, and Paul, I'm a good company. Laura Zed, I'm a good company. I'm with the great Paul Malignaggi, the two-time world champion. Anytime I could be in the company of world champions, it's an honor. Whether it's Angelo or anybody else. Does Ohashi Jim get trained by Inoue's dad? No, I don't. Not every Ohashi fighter gets trained by Inoue's dad. Some guys they have other trainers. Here we go. We going with the personal questions. How do you make money from boxing? Just YouTube? I do my thing, man. I've been smart my money over the years. I'll just leave it at that. I've been smart my money. God always provides, and there's other things in the works. So that's why I'll leave it at that. God has been faithful to your boy BT over the years, because that's how it works. When when you have something that you say you love and a talent that God gave you, if you're loyal to it over the years and you give your best efforts, you get rewarded over time. So I feel like I've been getting rewarded over time, and I don't. I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid with my money. I don't got no crazy girlfriend. I don't have any kids as of yet. That's always subject to change if the right one comes along. But as of right now, no. So it's all good. We're just here doing what we got to do and trying to even get better at this, because I feel like I could even be better at this. I'm always striving to get better. I'm always striving to be my best. In life and in boxing and just all the way around the board for myself, for my friends and my family and things like that. So anyway, that's enough. Would you ever go to a Zuffa event? Of course. I listen. You guys be surprised. A lot of you guys think that I hate Zuffa boxing just because they have Turkey Al Sheikh affiliation, but you guys would be surprised to know that I know quite a few staff members at Zuffa boxing. Like I won't name them all, but like I know one of the matchmakers. I know one of the lead matchmakers, and I know one of the most prominent people in Zuffa boxing. And it's like not just, it's like more than two people. It's like two, three, four. It's like three or four people I know at Zuffa. They have good people there. I wanted to go to this last show, but they're like really particular about the media and who they let in, right? So they're not gonna let me in. And then the ticket prices, tickets are ridiculous. Tickets is like $200, $300, and like, look, I love boxing, I love going to fights, but guys, I didn't even pay 300 when the Florida Panthers, and you guys know how much I love my Panthers, even though we sorry this year. When the Florida Panthers were in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago on the way to winning their first Stanley Cup, I paid $250 to watch them clinch the Eastern Conference and beat the Rangers. So I'm saying that to say that I'm not paying all $300 to go watch zoo like just prospects. You understand? Now, if it was, $50, I could do 75. Even I could do if I really want to see a fight. But $300, we're not doing that, champ. Crooks the Great, what's good, champ? He says you're blessed, champ. I hope you will do well. I believe I am, and I believe I'm gonna be even better. Aliyah Orozco got in and even went to an event in Saudi. Well, shout out to Aliyah Orozco. But listen, guys, I'm not here to downplay nobody or say nothing bad about no one. But what all I can say is this: there's channels that for these promotional companies, there's channels that are safe, and there's channels that are not safe. I can be labeled as a guy who maybe isn't safe because whatever I want to ask, I'm going to ask it. I don't care. There's nobody There's nobody sticking the key in my back and telling True School and BT what to say. I can just be myself. I can ask that, you know. Um, but respect to everybody, you know. And I don't really have any ambition to go to Saudi. The environment and the crowd reaction at Mega Apex is similar to Eddie Hearn's Monte Carlo events, but less glamorous looking. That's actually a very good comparison because those Eddie Hearn events are really, really, those ones in particular, the Monte Carlo ones, they'd be like 200 people, 300 people. And yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Great comparison. Um, yeah, I had a chance. I've had a chance to go over there to the Apex. I was watching some sparring in there last week, and it's not a big facility. Like it's a nice facility. It's big, but so for those that don't know, for those that know, for those that don't know, let me explain something to you because if you haven't been to the UFC Performance Institute or Apex, you may think that the Apex and the Performance Institute are the same thing, and guess what, guys? They're not. In fact, they're literally two separate buildings. They're probably separated by about the length of a football field. So you have the Apex here, and you have the PI here, the Performance Institute over here. Now, the Apex is just specifically for events, for just events, super boxing, them kind of things. They got a boxing ring in there to be sparring. But the PI, the Performance Institute, that's where all the magic happens. They got a cafeteria in there where the chefs make food tailored for what the fighters are trying to do, whether they're trying to gain weight, cut weight. They got the whole the cold plunge, the hot tub, but it's like the coldest of the cold and the hottest of the hot. They got that. They got all kinds of just crazy recovery things in there for the fighters. So it's pretty cool. I can't lie. It's pretty damn cool. Um, BT, would you sell out to Turkey out? Would you sell out to Turkey for the right price or no? No, I would not. I know money. I know we all need money to survive. We all need money to survive, right? And I know you gotta get in how you fit in all that stuff. But really and truthfully, guys, like, nah. What I said about Turkey, I stand on it like tenfold. Like it's not. I'm not moving off that square of how I feel about Turkey. So I'm not gonna. He can wave the magic wand. I'm not gonna do it. And then if the Saudis don't believe me, test my gangster. Do it. When was the last time you spoke with Stacey McKinley? I hope he's good. I haven't spoken to Stacey McKinley since the like 2 days after the Teofimo Shakur fight. I was trying to get him on here to do an interview to explain what the hell went wrong in the corner. And then I know he had a couple fighters from his gym like Alex Bray and the kid Gianni. This Italian kid he trains. He had those guys fighting really close to each other, so I know he was busy with that. But he never got back to me. And I called Stacey like not once, not twice, not three times. I called him quite a lot. So I left him alone for a bit. I gotta actually call him soon, cause I gotta ask him. Ask him for help with something. So hopefully when I call him again, he picks up, or we can do the interview because I know a lot of you guys wanted to hear what he had to say because he had a whole lot to say before the fight. I'm sure y'all want to hear what he got to say after the fight. What did I say about Turkey? I've said a lot. I've said that basically I've said that Turkey Al-Sheikh isn't that great. That's what I've said. Just to give you the really condensed version that that Turkey Al-Sheikh isn't what he's cracked up to be, and he's not the savior of boxing. And I don't particularly think boxing's been in a better place with Turkey at the helm. Just being honest, because people will say like, oh well, at least you get in the fights. But I can name you for every a lot of fights he's given boxing fans. They were not fights that anybody asked for. Nobody asked. Like, I know Canelo versus Crawford was a mega successful event because it's two big names, right? And I give Turkey credit for putting that together. But it's not necessarily a fight that fans were clamoring for. People were clamoring for Crawford to fight Jaron Ennis, and they were clamoring for Canelo to fight Dave Benavidez. And instead of doing that and trying to maybe help the future of boxing and whatnot, they both opted out of those fights and fought each other in a cash grab. So, yeah. Man, Tio laid an egg. I don't know where he goes from here, especially at 147. He laid a huge egg. But I want to see if he's gonna go to 47. I want to see him fight Brian Norman Jr. because that was a fight that was talked about for a little bit of time. Teofimo Lopez and Brian Norman Jr. was briefly discussed when like shortly after Brian beat Giovanni Santillan, and it was supposed to be in an ESPN primetime slot on a Friday, but Teofimo Lopez said that he turned on the fight because it wasn't on a Friday. It was he wanted it on a Saturday or whatever, so he went another direction, and it was crazy because this is before Norman. Um, like no, a lot of people like thought Norman was food back at that time, right? But now, I mean, that's a fight that I think it's probably if they were to make it right now, if they were to do T.O. versus Norman right now, that's probably the most interesting crossroads fight in boxing. I think, you know. What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? The untouchable True School Sports is here. I'm just here coming saying what's up, checking in from the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. We are still in the early stages of preparation for the IBF mandatory defense. And listen, man, we're gonna give you guys a great fight. And after God willing, because you put it in God's hands. God willing, if it goes right, we're about to get real vocal about them fights you guys keep asking us about. But what's on everybody's mind? Talk to me, man. Because like I said, I'm not planning on this. I'm not planning on this being no 2 hour live, not no 2.5 hour, no 3 hour. This is probably gonna be at the most. I'm talking about at tops 90 minutes. Because it's already been 60 damn near, so I might as well just go 90, right? Might be 90. We'll see how it goes. But while I'm here, get your questions in. He said, "Are you gonna get on Misfits? Is that what y'all want to see?" What was that gym when Stacy had and Shannon? What was that gym when Stacy had Shannon Briggs and Holyfield? There were old videos. There were Riddick Bowe. That's a gym called the Heavyweight Factory. It was a really popular gym in South Florida for well over 15 years. Vladimir Klitschko also trained. The majority of Vladimir Klitschko's world title reign was in that gym. So, but back when Emmanuel Stewart was around, Emmanuel Stewart was at that gym working with Vladimir. That gym has a lot of history, and I'll tell you guys this. Sometimes, when I reflect back to those days, obviously I'm very blessed and honored to be where I'm at now, and I get to experience a lot of cool things just through covering boxing. But sometimes I do miss those times at the Heavyweight Factory because it was such a special place. They were very, very hallowed grounds, very majestic grounds that I used to go. And so the fact that that was the first gym where I really got to like kind of get my feet wet in boxing, getting content, doing interviews, them kind of things. I kind of wish I could relive it again, really, but that's not how life works. So I'm very appreciative for that time. And yeah, like I would say, so I started going there in 2015, and then Stacy McKinley got his own gym in like 2018 ish. So yeah, because that wasn't Stacy's gym. That gym was owned by this guy named Chris Lawrence. Chris Lawrence has been a guy that's been promoting shows on a local level in South Florida for a long time. He used to do a lot of co-promotions with Warriors Boxing. And I still think he still owns that space. Like he still owns the area where that gym is. He still owns that piece of land. And I still think there's a ring in there. I still think certain fighters go in there and get their work in, but it's not like how it was when I was going there back in, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, even 2019. It's not like that no more. Do you know who Turk told? I don't know what you're talking about, Raw Dog. What are you talking about? Charity? What do you mean charity? Oh, it's at 47? Kenneth Sims and Barboza at 47? It's a good fight. What do you think about Sims versus Junior? Personally, like, look, man, I like Kenny Sims in the fight. I like Kenny Sims. I think I like his experience level more. I just like him more than Barbosa. I think he beats him, but it's a good fight. They both do a lot of things very, very good. I don't think any one of them does anything necessarily great, but they both do a lot of things very good. Did you see Jarrell Miller and Trey Bryan? Yeah, I was there when they sparred. I've been watching a lot of Juan Marquez recently. I feel like he's a criminally underrated Mexican fighter. He's a very great Mexican fighter. I don't know personally, like, because it's funny you mentioned the Mexican fighters because I don't know if you guys heard or saw, but Diego Pacheco, he made a lot of headlines today well, today and yesterday, because he went on this radio show, and he pretty much said that, like, you know, Mexican fighters don't have any IQ, and Mexican American fighters are better. And I think he didn't layer out what he was trying to say, because I think he was trying to say that modern Mexican fighters are better than the modern Mexican American fighters are better than the modern Mexican fighters. But they mentioned him in that interview, so yeah. Marquez is a beast. I don't know if I definitely I wouldn't have Marquez in the top five. You know, he's great, but I don't think he's like top five great. But maybe in that, like, that lower top 10-ish part, I have to really think about it. You don't know who Turkey told no charity and go with Eddie too? What do you mean charity? I don't know what you're talking about with charity. It's going over my head. Would I like to see Jared Anderson? Who would I like to see Jared Anderson fight? I think you said it for me, man. Jared Anderson versus Jarrell Miller, Big Baby versus Big Baby. To me, that's probably the fight I like to see the most. I'm not a big Jared Anderson guy. I never have been, really, to be honest with you. I've always thought Jared Anderson was overrated from, like, day one. Even from when I seen him, like, from a prospect, I never liked. I liked him, but I didn't like him to the degree that, like, the media or a lot of people in the boxing world thought. He was never, like, on that level to me. Does Clarissa Shields have to fight a man and get knocked off for her to shut up? Um, I don't think she's gonna shut up, man. At the end of the day, like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, she's a black girl from Flint, Michigan. She gonna talk. let's call it let's call it for what it is. Um, we were robbed Rodriguez Prograis versus Jojo Diaz 2 by Conor Ben and Alexis Rocha. Yeah, man, I feel like Golden. I didn't really think of it like that, but that was actually a really good fight. That was one of those fights last year that um, when it happened, I didn't I wasn't excited for it when it got signed, but when it happened, I was like, wow, this is probably one of the best fights I've seen this year. So, would have been cool to see him do it again, but, money talks in this sport. You know how it is. Osiris says, man, you gotta get the StreamYard popping sometimes. You're talking about with the panel. See, man, I'm gonna tell you guys this for those of you guys who haven't been watching me over the last 6 years. These those panels, man, I'm like very worried about those panels because, like, I had some bad experiences 5-6 years ago during COVID with them panels, and if I do it again, if I actually start opening up the panels and talking to you guys, y'all better show some respect and take your house shoes off when you come on True School Sports, because we have people here talking crazy back in 2020, 2021. So I stopped doing them because it was really unhealthy for a while. But who knows? We're in camp. We're busy, of course. We got time. So what do you guys think? Should not today, not tonight, but maybe later on this week, or maybe so soon. We'll just say soon. Should we open up the StreamYard panel? Is that what y'all want? I don't know if I'll do like the 3 or 4 people at a time, because that shit's annoying, but maybe like one-on-one. Maybe we'll do one-on-one and we'll time it out. We'll do one-on-one. Get one person for 10 minutes, get them out. Get another person for like 10 minutes, get them out. What you think? He says, you want to learn boxing, come out west and stay a year. Man, don't lecture me about that. I done came out west multiple years. The West Coast is like another home for me. Y'all must not know. I ain't just talking Vegas. I ain't just talking. I'm talking Cali. I'm talking Texas. Sprinkling a little Arizona, a little New Mexico in there. I'm very familiar with the West Coast. So y'all want me to? All right. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I haven't done it for years. I think the last time I ever did a StreamYard panel was probably like, I'm gonna say like maybe like early 2023, but it wasn't even consistent. I did it one time when I was bored one time. Before that, it was like, I'm talking COVID, because like I said, people they think that because they act a certain way on other channels that they can come on True School Sports, the home of boxing on YouTube, and act all crazy. So You know, I'll open it up, but I'm gonna do it my way. We're gonna do it my way. We're gonna maybe do one person at a time. Every 10 minutes we'll sell them out. You know, something like that. I don't want it to. I don't want it to drag out because sometimes people come and they don't want to talk about boxing. They be coming. They come into the panel. They want to talk about what this guy said at another channel, and we ain't here for that. I'm not here for that weird shit. Listen, I'm just here for the boxing. But if it's with cool guys like my man Osiris, that's cool. I like Osiris. He's a cool guy, and I never had him on a panel or talked to him in that regard. So he probably be someone cool to have on here. Go to SoCal for the real boxing. NorCal boxing isn't too hot. I've been to SoCal for boxing. I'm tapped in with the SoCal boxing scene. I can tell you about the SoCal boxing scene. But I'm gonna push back a little bit on Northern California. Don't be out here talking crazy about my Bay Area brethren. You know, shout out to Jeff Riel. Shout out to my guy Virgil Hunter. You know, the fine folks there. Mike Basil, Joe Sean James. You know, the whole Bay Area. I match energy. I definitely know went on panels and kept it cordial, but once the disrespect came off, then I gotta get ignorant. I don't I don't I don't blame you, champ. I'm just worried about it because like I said, there's only my energy is very valuable, and I'm not about to get caught up in no YouTube beef, no YouTube drama. That's for the birds, champ. This is a boxing channel. It's the boxing channel. I I gotta put your love for West Coast box. You gotta put your love for West Coast boxing like you love Japanese boxing. I am. I don't care what Angelo Leo. What love can you give with that? Um, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to really like love anything like Japanese boxing because, like I said, guys, it's a. Do you guys even know the Japanese boxing story? Because people think because I wear glasses and I talk proper, they think like, oh, BT is just some nerdy guy who grew up watching anime and he had a hard on for Dragon Ball Z and Hajime no Ippo and Naruto, and that's how he likes. That's why he likes Japanese boxing. But do you guys actually even know the story? Do you guys know the origins of how all this Japanese stuff on True School came to be? Because I don't speak Japanese. Like, do you know the origins? He says everything is eerie until Hyrule turns up under his multi account. Oh, Cyrus wants to know. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a story because I've told it a couple of times. I got videos explaining it, but I'll explain it again. So basically, we'll go back to the year. So the year is like 2000, late 2015. I'll say it's like late 2015, early 2016, somewhere in and around that time, right? So, for those that know, for those that don't know, I started covering boxing here on True School Sports in 2015, right? The 2 years prior to that, before I even started covering boxing, I was covering the NBA. So if you go on this channel, if you dig in the archives, if you go on True School Sports and you go on the search bar, there's interviews with Kemba Walker, there's interviews with Vince Carter, there's interviews with Steph Curry from back when I was like 18, 19 years old, right? But then we got into boxing, right? Well, I was always into boxing. I was always a boxing fan, but as far as covering it, we got into boxing in 2015, right? And I remember looking at the pound for pound list, like 2015, 2016, and I knew everybody on the list. I knew Roman Gonzalez, of course. I know Golovkin. I know the Crawfords of the world. I know Manny Pacquiao might have been on there, but there was this one guy at number eight or number 7 pound for pound. I didn't know who he was at that time, and his name was Shinsuke Yamanaka, right? Shinsuke Yamanaka, the WBC bantamweight champion, right? Had a bunch of defenses, much like Nonito Donaire's next opponent, Rico Masuda. He had what they called the God's left, right? So I didn't know anything about Yamanaka, but then I started going down the rabbit hole, watching his fights, learning about his career. The next fight that he had after I learned about him was the rematch against Anselmo Moreno. Great fight. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And I was hooked, right? So then I got more curious about Japanese boxing. While that was happening, Naoya Inoue was also beginning his rise. This is around the time when like HBO had him sitting ringside of Roman Gonzalez fights and things like that. And so then obviously I started covering Inoue's career, and then you learn about Kosai Tanaka and Kenshiro, Hiroto Kiyoguchi, these kind of guys over the years that I make videos about here and there. And then things really intensified. And by the way, all these years that I was covering these guys, I had built up a nice little following from Japanese boxing fans, because there was a lot of American channels talking about Japanese fighters. But I will say, I'll be honest, before 2023, I covered certain guys, but it wasn't like how it is now with the Japanese boxing. Now I be looking for things to talk about, like um. But then, like, I remember 2023 came, and Inoue and Fulton was a fight that was being discussed, and people were getting excited about that fight. I was getting excited about that fight. That was the fight I was most excited about in 2023. Even more than Crawford and Spence by miles, actually. Like, Crawford and Spence didn't even come within a thousand miles of how excited I was for Inoue and Fulton. And it was crazy because then I was like, you know what? What if I started to think to myself one day? I was sitting in my room one day, and I was like, what if I went to Japan? What if I went from South Florida to Japan, and I like covered the fight? Now at the time I never been to Japan, right? So I was like, okay, well, how am I gonna do this, right? So you start going on, you know, Google. You start looking up, what's the cheapest way to get to Japan from South Florida. Figured it out. Started a GoFundMe right here on the channel for anybody who wanted to donate. Some of you guys did, and it helped. And I went to Japan. And what's funny was the Inoue Fulton fight got canceled, right? It got canceled. So by the time I had everything booked for April when it was initially supposed to happen, because if you guys remember, Inoue tore his bicep. But I still went anyway, and I made a lot. I mean, a lot of my viewers got in touch with me. I made a lot of friends out there in 2023, that I still communicate with on a regular basis now. People that I would say are gonna be my lifelong friends. Like my boy Taihei, who's my translator out there. My boy Tamoya, um, and yeah, and I've received a lot of love from the Japanese boxing community, not just since 2023, but even before that. So. Um, yeah, yeah, I feel like I've been a bridge for the American fans that are interested in Japanese boxing coverage, but don't have a consistent place to hear about it. And then I've also been a bridge for the Japanese fans that want the American perspective on their fighters. So we're killing two birds with one stone. So that's the long and short of it. You look good on training beat. Thank you, champ. Thank you. BT, what are your thoughts on Grant Flores? I don't know. It's pronounced E-Rye. You ever grew up with Jamaicans? I'm from South Florida. I'm from South Florida. Did I grow up around? Yeah, I grew up around Jamaicans. In fact, not only did I grow up around Jamaicans, in my, I'm a product of the Broward County public education system. For good, bad, or indifferent. I'm a product of that public education system. But we used to have Jamaican beef patties. We used to have Jamaican beef patties for lunch. That's how Jamaican it was where I came from. In a way, Fulton was definitely a crazy build-up because it kind of came out of nowhere. They tried to make Fulton the American savior to stop the Monsters rampage. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a crazy build-up because it was like, at least in modern-day boxing, there hadn't been a guy from Japan with Inoue's stardom, right? And then Fulton, most American fighters don't go to Japan for big fights like that, so it was different. Someone said, with the mama like Stephen Fulton, who needs enemies? Oh my God. Tell him how you really feel, champ. What did she say? There goes my house. You made a decision and stuck with it, and it turned into something. It's turned into something that's still growing to this day. A bunch of friends were made too. Big respect, brother. Yep. That's what happened, champ. So, yeah, it's been a very intriguing journey too, because like, if I want to get certain things done in Japanese boxing, there's not really anybody. I can't call people in the boxing media and say, hey, how do you go do this in Japan? Like, I had to learn all that on my own. How to navigate certain things, how to get around the language barrier. All kinds of stuff. Like I could do a whole video. Did I ever fight in the amateurs? No, I didn't. But we're getting to that point soon. We're getting to that point. Gotta get in there and spar soon. Patties for lunch. Were there any good compared to what you get from your favorite food shop? No, no. The Jamaican beef patties at school, I mean, they were okay, but they were pretty trash compared to what I could get around my neighborhood. Like, for example, I highly doubt anybody here is from South Florida, but if you are, there's a place in Dania Beach called Island Joe's. All right, I used to go there a lot. When I wanted Jamaican food, I would go to Island Joe's. That was the spot. If you wanted to get like Jamaican beef patties, Jamaican food in and around my area, you go to Island Joe's. That was one of the little spots that I like to go to. But nah, Jamaican beef patty from Broward County schools was not cutting. It was not up to par. It was not up to championship professional standards. You know. What are we, an hour in? So like, okay, we're an hour in, guys. So I promised y'all 30 minutes. So I'm gonna give y'all 30 more minutes of these ramblings. And like I said, this live is completely unplanned. Tomorrow's live will be like a more well planned live. And then we'll open up the panel here one of these days. First amateur fight, BT. You gotta put it on the live. That's what we need, champ. Why not? Hey BT, did Nakatani's grandpa die or was it a team member? Surely this will affect him in camp. I haven't heard anything about anybody from Nakatani's camp dying. So if you're asking me that question, I don't know anything about that. But all I can say is, anytime somebody close to you dies, especially for fighting, it can affect the fighter. It depends on the fighter. Like, we've seen in the past where it's affected guys positively, like we think of Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson, and then negatively, Daniel Jacobs before he fought Dimitri Pirog. So it really just depends on the fighter, their mindset, how they process loss, how they're able to grieve in that moment and channel it into the ring. Oh, he did? I didn't see it. Ah, it sucks. Well, hey, I would assume that Junto's strong. So if he's a strong mental fighter, then I would expect if one of his grandpa or grandma died or whatever, RIP to that person. But if that happened, then I feel like he'll use it to be his best. He's gonna need to be his best. He's fighting anyway at the Tokyo Dome. I mean, it don't get no bigger than that. Afro Jam says Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Hollywood. Yeah, South Florida. Hell yeah. Dania Beach. I'm a proud of the Dania Beach. Dania Elementary. If you want to be specific, Dania Elementary, Osa Middle School, South Broward High School. Dania Beach's finest right here. Do you know BTWS Sports? He interviews Stacey McKinley, and he said that Tyson did things like squat down and then a jump uppercut like a Superman move. He said that on here. He said it on True School. And I am familiar with that guy. Like, I don't watch him that often, but I've seen some of his stuff with Stacey McKinley. Yeah, he said that on here too. I asked him that question, I think like 2020 or 2021. I asked him about what was the craziest thing Mike Tyson ever did in sparring. And that's what he said. He did it like he squatted down and he did like a jump uppercut. The last thing Inoue needs is for Nakatani to have that kind of motivation. I mean, look, man, I have a vest, like, I think Inoue is gonna win, but I have a vested interest in Inoue winning that fight because the way the story's supposed to go is he's supposed to beat Junto and come to featherweight and get bashed up by the kid from Albuquerque. That's how it's supposed to go, but we shall see how it goes. Either way, I'm gonna be very, very intrigued. I'll be here talking about it, and yeah. I'm almost wondering, Kieran Randall, are you Hyro? I feel like it's Hyro. Hyro, one of his millions of troll accounts. Junto got served. He's not the one. You guys don't think he's the one? Y'all ain't messing with Junto? Because I was talking to a very wise, sage old man in boxing, and he said, yeah, BT, he's not that good. That's what he told me. So we'll see. We'll see come May 2nd. Now, just so you guys know, because I know people are going to ask me, I will not be in Japan for that fight because unfortunately, it's too close. It's too close to the Rais Ali mandatory defense for Angelo, so I will not be there. But will any of you be in Japan? My gut tells me that Inoue's gonna fight Brandon Figueroa first at 126. I don't know. He has to get through Junto first. I personally don't think it'll be Brandon. I know who. I can tell you guys who it won't be. I know. At least at first, I don't think it'll be Angelo. I think it'll be Bruce. I think it'll be Bruce. There's too many reasons why it could be Bruce. Inouye's never fought at Madison Square Garden, right? Um, I'm not gonna say what they are because you know I don't know who's watching these things, and I don't want nobody stealing this game that that I might drop. But there's a lot of things that Bruce has not corrected yet, and I think Inouye's team, if they're as smart as I think they are, they'll see the same things that we're seeing, and and yeah, I mean Bruce does a lot of talking, so he's gonna sell the fight. I mean Bruce hasn't stopped talking since he won the title, right? So there's a lot of reasons. My man says, I already put my bag on Junto. Oh, man, you might lose your bag, champ. Inoue is so much better than him. If Naoya wins, is it possible for Takuma to move up and fight Junto? That was the fight that they were trying to make before my boy Seiya Sumi went in there and put them hands on Takuma. Um, I don't really care for that fight, but yeah, it's possible. My man Raw Dog says Junto was hot for a few summers. You say he was hot for a few summers. He wasn't that good. We're going to see, champ. I still think Junto is good. Now, do I think Junto should be on the pound list right now? Absolutely not. I thought he lost to Sebastian Hernandez Reyes, and I think there's guys. Man, Oscar, this pound list is getting out of hand. You know, you got Bam Rodriguez, who I think is way too high at number 3. You got Oscar De La Hoya today at the press conference saying that Oscar Collazo should be pound number 2, which to me, I don't think he really believes that. I think he's just promoting his fighter, but still, like it's ridiculous. No matter what, it's ridiculous because I like Collazo. Like guys, I'm Puerto Rican. Like I have a reason to be biased, and he's not. He's not a pound fighter yet. Box Raw has been posting nonstop. Nakatani training this week, and Inoue posted today that training camp is done, even though there's 2 months left. Dog says, I think Leo might be the last one that Inoue would pick, to be honest. You know what? I thought about this so many times. I've I used to get angry about that because I think the same thing, but I actually like now it makes the hairs on my arms stand up because if that's the case, you know how it's gonna end up. And I've been saying this for years. I've told Angela this for like a while now. When we drive past the MGM Grand, I point to it sometimes and I be like, look, we're gonna fight. You're gonna fight there one day, and you're gonna knock his block off, and you're gonna become undisputed right there. And that's gonna be the fight that cements you. So if it does go down that way, perfect. It'll be just how I said it would go. Inoue versus Espinoza is the creme de la creme. You think so, champ? I mean, I respect your opinion. I don't agree with that, and I don't think Espinoza is gonna stay at featherweight much longer. I don't think Espinoza is gonna even attempt to unify, and no one's gonna criticize him for it because he's gonna go fight Vaquero. But I'm telling y'all right now, when that belt gets dropped, you gonna hear some crazy things from me. You gonna hear some crazy things from me. Who do I think wins Dubois versus Woodley? And I know this is Hyro, so I'm gonna give Hyro what he wants. I'm gonna go with Woodley, champ. There's just over 300 people at the minimum. We have to start the pound talks. That's what I'm saying. And you guys know, I love the lighter weight categories. I'm the main guy on YouTube that covers the sub bantamweight divisions. Slip and flyweight, light flyweight. I love these weight classes, but I'm also not delusional, and I'm not gonna give fighters things that I feel they haven't earned. So in the case of Asa Collazo, is he very skillful? Yes. Is he somebody that I feel you could say is in the top 20? Is he in the honorable mention? Sure. But I don't think he's a top 10 pound fighter right now. Hell no. And the same goes for Bam. I think Bam is very good. I got into an argument with some guys on Twitter yesterday, and I probably shouldn't even have been tweeting because I had things to do and it was draining my energy to argue with these guys. But like Bam, they got Bam pound number 3, and it's like how? Why? Like he's good. Like Don't get me wrong, he deserves to be on the pound for pound list, but three? Three? Come on, man. You gonna put him over Bivol? Bivol who beat Canelo and beat Better BF? And Zordo? Come on now. Let's not get carried away. Who deserves to be in the pound per list that they don't have on the pound per list? I'll say definitively, two guys that come to mind are Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete and I could be wrong because I think this guy is on the list, but Dave Benavidez for sure. Um, Oscar Collazo and even like with Junto, if Junto is still if you still want to have Junto on the list, he got to be 10. He got to be 10 because I mean I thought he lost his last fight. Even if you think he won, he didn't look great, you know. And then like I've said this about Junto. People who follow Japanese boxing got mad at me when I said this, but it's the truth. Junto Nakatani has not fought anywhere remotely close to the caliber of competition as Kenshiro Taraji at all. And I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like he's won some world titles, but I just think his resume, like he's good, he's been champion in 3 weight classes, but his resume ain't up to par with a lot of like an Inoue or Kenshiro, in my opinion. But Vaquero should be on there. I mean, and mind you, I'm a guy that it's hard. It's been hard for me for his whole career, damn near, to really interpret his style because it just breaks all the rules and he's not conventional, right? And you got to give the man his due. Get the man his due. Like I'm seeing all these guys like Oscar Collazo and Junto and these kind of guys get all this praise, and they haven't done what Vaquero's done in the sport. Raw Dog says Boots is 35-0 and he ain't fought an elite fighter, Andre Ward. Yeah, it's true. I'm with Andre Ward, and I'm not trying to be on Andre Ward or anything because I wasn't an Andre Ward fan, but he telling the truth. You got to take Bivol and Better be off the list because they're officially inactive now. Yeah, but since when does boxing follow the rules? Like why can't we just make things up as we go like the WBA and WBC? Ring themselves. They don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Nah, but I hear you. So okay, if we take Bivol and Better BF off the list, then you could put Bam top 5 pound for pound. I think you definitely could. But I'm not doing that. I got Bivol and Better BF. Donaire's fighting this weekend against Riku Masuda. What do you guys think? Should there be a live fight reaction for that card? What do you guys think? What do I think about Michael Angeletti versus Kenneth Lovera? I don't have any like super deep thoughts on it. I have to watch a Michael Angeletti fight this week because you guys have been on me about Michael Angeletti for the longest. Kenneth Lovera, I know Kenneth Lovera. Kenneth Lovera, big time puncher. He was such a big time puncher, so dynamic of a fighter that he even got the great Alex Ariza to come out of retirement and work with him. So. Yeah, Donaire's a living legend. I love Donaire. You know? Yeah, nothing really. I mean, what is that, a Saturday? I'm pretty sure it's going to be on a Saturday. So I don't think there won't be any camp going on the next day, I'm pretty sure. That's Saturday, guys, right? Donaire versus Masuda. Is that like Saturday morning or... We'll figure it out. You guys know how much I love going live for those 3 a.m. Those 3 a.m. Japanese cards. Ready to go to sleep?
I know, I'm stretching.
Oh, okay. You look like you're tired. Oh, okay. Yeah, Benavidez is 8. Okay. All right, guys. 15 more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Shout out, I honestly, guys, I didn't think this live was gonna go this good today. Honestly, I wasn't feeling it. You know, I really wasn't feeling it because I like to plan these out. I got all these things I want to talk about, but you know, sometimes it's good to just come on here and just come off the cuff. You know, tomorrow we'll structure it a lot more. We'll give you guys some extended thoughts on Boots, because everybody I know y'all want to hear about Boots and Virgil and them not fighting. BT, what do you think about Masamichi Ibuki? I love Masamichi Ibuki. I think Masamichi Ibuki is one of the most ferocious fighters and one of the best fighters in the entire sport of boxing. Um, Bantamweight on down. I think. See, now that's a guy, right? Y'all are talking to me about guys that should be on the pound for pound list. Now, I won't say that Yabuki should be on the pound for pound list, but I'll say that he's right there in that like top 20 range. He's like one of them guys where if he were to get a big win, like if he were to fight Kenshiro again and knock him out, that would get him consideration. If he were to get like if boxing didn't have like their favorites and it actually was about like I'm gonna tell y'all something real right now. If boxing was actually about the best fighting the best, Yabuki would be one of the guys that Bam Rodriguez would get matched up with. He would be one of the top five, the top fights out there, cause he's been champion multiple times. He's one of the hardest punchers in the division. That'd be a great fight. But you guys tell me, cause I don't want to come off as a hater, cause you guys say I'm a hater when I say this. So you guys explain to me. You guys, some of you guys are smarter than me. How is it, right? How is it that Bam Rodriguez has the most influential person in all of Japanese boxing, but they can't seem to make any fights with any of the top Japanese fighters when he fights in a weight class that has a lot of high level, top Japanese fighters? Can y'all riddle me that one? Because he didn't, Bam didn't fight Kenshiro. He didn't fight Ibuki. He didn't fight Seigo Yuriokui. He's not trying to fight, he's not, Tomoyo Suboy isn't a fight that's in the works. And I'm not, and I want to be perfectly, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that's on Bam. All right, it's not. So before you say BT, you're hitting on Bam, I'm not saying it's on Bam. I'm just saying, why is that, guys? You don't think that's kind of weird? He's got missiles for arms. He does. He's the real deal. Devin Haney is not on my pound pound list with an excuse in a lawsuit. Tell him, champ. Tell him. Shakur can unify, my opinion, but I don't know why he don't want to move up after, though. He can do it. Also, he talks about size and better, but then he doesn't want to move up, try and move up. I mean, Shakur's just like he's one of the most. I mean, he's one of the top fighters out there, but he's also one of the most well managed fighters out there. So they know what they're doing. Thanks for talking to me, champ. I'm going to bed now. All right, shout out to you, champ. I'll be doing the same in about 13 minutes. I think Mr. Honda doesn't view protecting his fighters the same way we do. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I only had a chance to talk to Mr. Honda one time. Only once, back in January of last year after the Inoue Yi Jun Kim fight. I talked to him in the corridors of the Ariake Arena. To be honest with you, it wasn't a pleasant experience. And hopefully as time progresses, we can have some pleasant experiences. But yeah, he's an interesting guy because from the little bit I know about him, and trust me, I've asked Near and I've asked Wide about Mr. Honda and his beginnings and his backgrounds and how he's got into boxing. Because if you go on YouTube or Google, that information's not really out there. He's kind of like a mysterious figure, right? So I went and I asked some folks, and apparently Mr. Honda's like a business guy. Like he comes from like a financial background, from what I've heard. Now I don't know because I haven't really talked to the man himself in depth, but that's what I heard. I feel like the Japanese want to save Bam to feed him to their top stars and not let him get clout off of beating their older champions. I mean, but like, okay, let's just remove Kenshiro Taraji, right, from the picture. Let's remove Seigo Yuriokui because them two guys almost killed each other. We won't even put like Yabuki in there because he's still like even though he's not washed or he's still a little up there in age, has some wear and tear. Why can't we guys? Why can't we get Bam Rodriguez versus Tomoyo Suboy? Like Tomoyo Suboy, skill for skill. Like I know he only has like 2 or 3 fights, but the guy's like in terms of his career and how they're moving him, he's like the Japanese Lomachenko of Japanese he's the Lomachenko of Japanese boxing. Guy won a gold medal in the AIBA Championship. He's the only Japanese fighter to do it. You could when you watch him fight, you can tell that his skill level was way beyond a guy with 2 or 3 fights. He's a guy that can fight for a world title in his third or fourth fight. That's a fight that should be really be getting made. But again, they have the roadmap for Bam, they had the roadmap for Suboy, and I guess that roadmap does not include them fighting each other, but it should, because it's a damn. If you're someone who's like really into like um, chess, like I guess you could say high level chess, because that I don't think that fight would be like super exciting, but it'd be like a really technical fight. I think the purists, the boxing snobs, the purists would enjoy that fight. Mr. Honda is the Japanese Al Heyman. Next Gem says BT says that he's worse than Al Heyman. Now look, I never used the word worse. I never used the word worse. All I said was is that he's got more control over things that go on in Japan than Al Heyman has in America, and that is not that is not an exaggeration. And the crazy thing is, guys, I could sit here, I could tell you guys, I could explain it frontwards, backwards, sideways, up and down, what it's like over there. But until you really been around it and really experienced what I've experienced, there's no way of you knowing how powerful Mr. Honda is in Japan. It's ridiculous. Bam is only fighting guys with jewelry. Yeah, but like I don't know, like every time he like damn near every time he fights somebody with jewelry, it's always someone that's like a little up there in age, long in the tooth. Like I want to see him fight. Like really, in a way, should be at featherweight right now, and we should be getting Bam versus Junto. That's the fight we should be getting, cause they both got something to prove. As far as I understand, Mr. Honda is the guy in Japanese boxing. He is. He 1000% is. I'll put it to you like this, all right? I'll put it to you like this. I'm not gonna get too deep into this, but I'll put it to you like this. The smaller boxing gyms in Japan, so like we'll say like we'll use Hachiyoshi Nakaya boxing gym because I know those people, Jin Suzuki's gym. A lot of the smaller gyms, not so much in Osaka because like the Osaka boxing scene is its own world, and I have my own firsthand account of that from going there for when Angelo fought Kameda, and then also being in camp with Yugo Osaki and learning through him what boxing in Osaka is like. But really more so for like the Tokyo boxing scene and I guess the other towns. Bro, a lot of the smaller gyms that survive in Japan, they rely on the funding from Mr. Honda. You know, signing with Mr. Honda. So you could be a fighter like let's say for example, if you're let's say you're Seigo Yuriakui, a guy from a random town way out of the way in West Japan, okay? You train at this old gym, Kurashiki Muriyasu boxing gym, right? You're not gonna have a chance to make it in the big times of boxing if you're not in some way signed to Mr. Honda and fighting on Lamino, which is like the zone of Japan. You understand? Like in a lot of these gyms, like I said, a lot of these gyms, they're not making bank like that. They rely on the funding from, you know, Kaicho Honda, as they say. I hate to say he's cherry picking belts because he's fighting champions, but if you're talking about Inoue and Juto, those guys at 118 shouldn't have nothing for you. I agree. I agree. But my thing is, Bam talking about Inoue is Junto not so much. But whenever people start going on about Bam versus Inoue, and I'm like, you guys, stop, please, like, stop. You're wasting your breath. It's never gonna happen, and it's pointless. I swear on my life, man. If they make like Inoue versus like Bam, and Inoue don't come to featherweight, I'm gonna crash out for real. Um, Now, look, if Bam actually goes up in weight and proves himself to be a worthy challenger, you know, at that half weight category, then sure. But he's at 15 right now. He's at 115. Make a video on the difference between the Tokyo, Yokohama, and Osaka scene. Well, Tokyo and Yokohama is pretty much the same because geographically speaking, Tokyo and Yokohama are only like they're separated by about 20 to 30 minutes. Like you can literally take a train from Tokyo to Yokohama, be there in no time. I've done it before plenty of times. There's not much difference there. It's more so Osaka is its own world. Like it really is its own world with the Kamedas and everything like that, and even outside the Kamedas, like some of the gyms there. What about Yuga Osaki versus Bam? Let the upset. I mean, I'm starting to let go. Honestly, guys, I'm starting to let go and kind of just give up on anything happening with Yugo Osaki because, like, just to put it bluntly, like the kid don't fuck with your boy BT for some reason. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did to the kid or didn't do to the kid, but like he ain't talking to me. So, I would love for Yuga to get that fight, and whether I'm part of his journey or not part of his journey, I'll root my ass off for him because I love Yuga Osaki. But Yuga's listen, Yuga's an exceptionally talented fighter. I've always been very bullish about this, especially after being with him for 44 days and just seeing what kind of person and fighter he is. I've always said that he's one of the most talented fighters I've ever been around, easily. It's not even and it's not even up for debate. He's one of the most talented fighters I've ever been around. Real professional, just a young kid, you know. But yeah, I mean, as far as him versus Bam, I'll tell you this: if you guys want to see Bam Rodriguez fight someone with a similar style to his, that's the guy he could fight. But right now, Bam's at 15, Yuga's at 108 pounds, but he's got that frame. If you look at his frame, he has that frame. He could compete as high as 15, but like I said, he ain't fought since late 2024. We're almost done with the first quarter of 2026. I don't know what's going on with him. I can't even buy a response from the kid. Um, there's no news on him anywhere. He's not ranked anywhere, so his career is in shambles. So my man said, "Let Bam think Yuga is easy money, and let's see." Yeah, they wouldn't. I'll tell you this though, they wouldn't do that fight. It's not just the Kanedas. It's Osaka is a party town. It very much is. I'm starting to think that Riku Masuda beats Donaire. Why? Why? Too much Colombian coffee again. It's funny. Bam is too busy in a way clout chasing. I mean, I feel like look, any talk about Bam versus Junto or Bam versus in a way, it's all clout. Like these guys ain't fighting each other. In a way, and Junto are fighting each other, but like yeah, but he's not even at 22. Like I'm sorry guys, I have a hard time talking about Bam versus anybody at 22 because he's not even at 118. He's not even at bantamweight. Move up, man. Most of Inoue's opponents would beat Bam at 122. You think Ramon Cardenas beats Bam? That'd be a good fight. Do that fight. Make Bam fight one of these Mexican Americans, man. I'm tired of the powers that be putting all the Mexican Americans to fight Kenshiro. All the guys that they should be putting Bam to fight, they put Kenshiro, Anthony Olascuaga, Ricardo Sandoval. You know these kind of guys. Lance Meyer was good, champ. Rico was up 3-0 when he lost to Seiya by 2 rounds, and Seiya beat Donaire by 6 rounds. It's a triangle theory, I know, but still. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And Donaire is at that age where he could fall off a cliff, physically speaking. So I get it. Um, Dave Jimenez has been interim WBA for almost 2 years now. Bam hasn't mentioned him and won't go and won't let go of the belts. Well, Dave Jimenez has been getting played for years. Dave Jimenez beat Ricardo Sandoval years ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's cool with Bam. But who cares about who's cool? Who's cool with who? This ain't the Shakur Keyshawn show. All right, friends gotta fight each other. No, Nonito Donaire is an animal, guys. He's an animal. I've met Nonito and I've interviewed him on this channel on a couple of occasions. Um, I know a lot about Donaire because Donaire is a guy that Angelo trained with a lot. Like years ago. If I'm not mistaken, I think Angelo was sparring Donaire for one of the Inoue fights. So I know a lot about him. He's truly a great fighter. What camp are you in? The camp of the best featherweight in the world, Angelo Leo, the IBF featherweight champion, for the Rais Salim fight. And we're gonna be in camp for like 2 more months. So you're gonna see his muscles get more dense. You know, you're gonna see his jawline get more sharper. We're just gonna get better all the way around the board. Let's see what time is it right now. All right, it's 11:46. All right, guys. So look, it's 11:46. Would you get Donaire on a live? I think you could get him on. Yeah, why not? I like Nonito. Um, he's watched these lives before. One time he commented on the live a couple years ago. But guys, look. On that note, I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta get some rest. We got training tomorrow. We got sparring tomorrow. I'm not sparring. Well, who knows? I might spar. Who knows? But we have sparring tomorrow. Whole long action-packed day. So look, I'll be live again tomorrow night. It'll be a more structured live. I'll be talking about boots, all that stuff that happened today. Maybe we'll even open up the panel for a little bit. You know, we'll get our one person at a time for like 10 minutes. You know, I got my own way we'll do it. And yeah, but listen, guys, stay tuned. You know, more content on the way. I got like 3 interviews I'm just sitting on that I gotta post. So I'm gonna drop a lot of shorts tomorrow. I got some interviews I'm gonna drop, and I'm actually working. I'm also working on a camp vlog. I'm gonna start trying to post. I'm gonna post camp vlogs from this camp. Probably like I'm gonna shoot for like every 2 weeks. So stay tuned for those, so you guys can see what we're doing on our day-to-day basis. And yeah, just keep supporting the channel. Thank you guys for joining me and just spending an hour and a half of your day with me. And I'll see you tomorrow. So take care.